uh, Pastor Kuhn and I were on the same page with the scriptures that came to mind for her. Proverbs 31 and 10, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. And he did such a fabulous job speaking about the worth of rubies and what a rare treasure it is to have a woman, to be our mother, our grandmother, great-grandmother, aunt, sister in Christ. If there ever was a woman that embodied that virtue, it was Edna Moseley. She was born in a tent to a family who worked in the fields of Brady, Texas. From an early life, hard work was all she knew. As a 16-year-old child, she was diagnosed with leukemia. She was not expected to live. She cried out to the Lord at that time, and she was healed miraculously. Cancer never returned to her body. From that experience onward, her life with the Lord was a testimony. And countless times, as we all know, God healed her, He protected her, and He comforted her, kept her. Married to Calvin Moseley at the age of 18 on November 26, 1960. 5 boys soon completed the family: C.A., David, Paul, Mark, and Dan. Edna loved and cared for her family with every ounce of her being. As her own parents grew frail, she cared for them too. She worked long hours as an aide to the elderly to support her family. She made their home a welcoming place, and we all fed at her table. Mountains of food always seemed to be part of family gatherings. Faithful to church, ministering to those in need, she fixed hair for those in nursing homes, baked her amazing banana bread, we all remember that, her homemade bread. She and Calvin bought an old house, and it became a special delight for her to renovate that house and make it a home that we all love so much. I first met her in 1995 when Dan and I met and then married, and she became like a second mother to me. And she loved every one of us, of her daughters-in-law, and she called us her daughters. So many memories through the years that she and I made, and all of us together. She loved to thrift and antique. She was not a spender. She knew how to save. But the greatest lesson I learned from her was to love the Lord, to serve Him with all your heart. And Pastor Kuhn really shared that so beautifully last night. I really appreciate all of the beautiful stories that he told. And she cared for her family in ways that we all remember. But she especially cared for Calvin, and he was a difficult man. And most women would not probably do today and endure the things that she did. But she remained faithful through it all. We all know that she never failed to speak the truth. And she especially spoke of her strong convictions, Christian living. And everyone who knew her can testify today. And we'll never forget that she loved the Lord. Her dress and her hair spoke of her care. And she took great care of herself, her home, and her family. Never missing an opportunity to be at church, we were well aware of every opportunity she had. And when her health deteriorated, she was in the nursing home for 12 years. River Hills Nursing was a very kind place to her. And yet she struggled with that diabetes for 40 years, which caused her to be in the nursing home for that last few years of her life. But she never complained. Her life was full of pokes and jabs for the last 40 years. And she always trusted that God would heal her, and that she would be healed from that terrible disease. But she never got that healing here on earth, but now she's healed. She was a prayer warrior, and I know every one of you that's here can attest to the fact that she prayed for you. I'll never forget the day that she called me and left a message on our answering machine. At that time, Danielle was a baby, and I had just been in a near fatal car accident. And when we got home, there was a message on the answering machine. Are you okay? I was awake all night praying for you. I had a dream. She said, I saw Dan and I saw Danielle, but I didn't see you. Are you okay? I had left Danielle with my mother and had gone with my sister, and we were in an accident on I-35 in San Antonio. The car spun out of control in the middle of the interstate, and we did several rounds, and I remember seeing trucks, cars all around us. And the car stopped facing oncoming traffic next to the guardrail. We didn't hit a thing. We walked away, drove away from that accident. And when I got home, there was that message. She had prayed for me. And I'm here today, and I know all of you can say, without a doubt, that there are prayers that have been prayed. And that's part of why you're here today. She left us large shoes to fill. Her presence here on earth is gone. She's at rest now. No more pain and suffering. She was the embodiment of the woman described in Proverbs 31. It says she rose while it was yet night and gave meat to her household. I can well attest to the fact that she worked nights, and she would be up in the morning. I don't know how she did it. And she'd be cooking, cleaning, taking care of Calvin, taking care of us. She did it. She stretched out her hand to the poor. There wasn't anybody that didn't benefit. If there was something she could do, she would do it. Strength and honor are her clothing. She openeth her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. We can all attribute to the fact that that woman, bless her soul, could not say anything bad about anyone. She loved everyone. She looked well to the ways of her household and did not eat the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. A woman that fears the Lord, she shall be praised. We honor her today. She was a woman that lives on as a legacy to us, and she has begun her eternal rest and reward with Jesus. And I just pray today that the life that she lived will be treasured in each of your lives today. Keep your hearts pure and undefiled before the Lord. And remember that her prayers have been prayed for you. And eternity awaits for all of us to join her in that heavenly reunion on heaven's shore.